When you're raised in a society where masculinity is rewarded, you learn to value dominance over empathy. In patriarchal society, children are taught to believe that to care is to be weak, and that belief shapes even our relationship with animals. To understand this, we must first define masculinity and the traits it promotes. Masculinity is associated with toughness, emotional restraint, dominance, and self reliance. Rejection of those traits is often seen as weakness by people. Almost all of human population considers themselves superior in animal kingdom because of our high cognitive and emotional intelligence compared to them. We don't even consider ourselves as animals, even though we most definitely are. The idea of human superiority is infused in us from the moment we are toddlers. Growing up, we learn about hierarchical structure of the system, observing how those in high-ranking positions hold power over those below them. In our society, we are raised as apex predators, taught to compete with and devour those who are considered inferior, both metaphorically and literally. When it comes to animals, we don't feel morally guilty killing and eating them, because that is exactly what system trained us for. Anti-vegan arguments often use food chain to justify meat consumption, reinforcing the belief that humans are naturally entitled to dominate other species. We decide who deserves to live and who is doomed to die. We get angry when dogs and cats are getting hurt, but don't feel the same empathy towards farm animals, because they're treated as products rather than beings. Meat and dairy consumption, as well as fur and leather usage by human population, is very profitable to multi-billionaire companies. I'm going to quote one of my favorite songs. This is the ALF by Conflict. Direct action in animal rights means causing economic damage to those who abuse and make profits from exploitation. Many would argue that there is no ethical consumption under capitalism, so it doesn't change anything if they buy meat products or not. But we should take in consideration that companies don't care what they sell, they care about what people buy. Supply and demand is a real thing. If the whole world suddenly went vegan, companies would pivot fast. Capitalism encourages constant competition, shaping us into cold, self-centered people. Growing up in that system, we learn to turn a blind eye to human exploitation, and we are expected to believe that those who try and work hard enough rise to the top, and those at the bottom simply didn't take any risks or worked hard enough. We as a society show no empathy towards minimum wage workers, because what good would it make to feel anything about it? It's just the way it is, and there is nothing an individual can change. This kind of thinking is deeply ingrained in us to make sure we never go against the system. So how is human exploitation relevant to animal rights? In fact, connection between these two is much deeper and significant than it seems. Exploited, dehumanized minimum wage workers and slaughtered animals are both product of patriarchal society which has abandoned basic empathy for the sake of profits. Let's move on to the next related topic. This is not anything as big as mentioned above, but it underlines how people reward masculine actions over stereotypically feminine ones. There is an anarchist international movement called ALF, Animal Liberation Front. They engage in direct actions aimed at opposing animal cruelty and exploitation. These actions include removing animals from laboratories and farms, damaging facilities, providing veterinary care, and establishing sanctuaries for those animals. Edits and videos of this movement has recently been trending on social media, mostly on TikTok, and people, vegan or not, seem to love their actions, which is great at first glance. But the problem is motivation of those members is to oppose systemic abuse of this animal. Most members are vegan, that's the whole idea. People on social media seem to be admitting that they'd love to join them, but no matter what, they would still never turn vegan. I find it really comical how people seem to not understand the whole purpose of this movement's existence. Society praises dominant actions, but don't even take in consideration that if most of population, including our individual selves, turned vegan, there would be no need for such movements. And before anyone says that consumer is not at fault, should we not feel guilty supporting animal exploitation when we have all the alternate resources? Large-scale change starts with personal change. People are praised for masculine traits but get looked down on empathetic, supportive, and caregiving personalities. This is an inherent issue of a toxic masculine society. That's exactly the reason why anti-vegan propagandists often depict vegans as feminine and member of LGBTQ community. Those kind of memes were huge in late 2010s and even now, as if it is a shame to be feminine and to care about something. People are so used to accepting the situation as it is, they'd rather pretend they don't care about or see the problem out of fear that they will be perceived caring and actually believing and fighting for the change towards better.